there are some stories that I haven't shared and that I sit with alone. And every time that I think about it, fuel gets added to the fire and I feel so disconnected that nobody will get it because I'm not allowing somebody to get it. If you're not telling somebody something, of course they're not going to get it. Of course they're not going to hear you. And of course you're going to be misunderstood. You're not allowing them to. You have to allow someone to understand you. Hey besties, and welcome back to the Why Would I Say That podcast. It's your girl Tierra, and today I am dressed up as Flame Princess because she's so BPD coded and it's Halloween, so happy Halloween. There's nothing scarier than living with BPD, am I right? I am very corny, and that is okay. Flame Princess is so BPD coded. She is very emotionally unstable a bit. She burns everything that she touches, and I felt that. And she was locked away as a child and then let off into adulthood trying to figure everything out by herself. Wow, that sounds so BPD. So today I am Flame Princess, and yeah. Here we are. Happy Halloween. But today I am doing another What is Tierra's Take? Because again, BPD is scary and I've gotten so many questions about BPD. So yeah, in honor of Halloween, what could be scarier than this? Talking about BPD. Okay. But yeah, we're just going to jump straight into this today because I've got so many questions. I got so many things on my mind. And also I tried recording this once and my words weren't wording and I just started feeling bad about myself. I started getting all self-negative talk and everything, but I'm still here. I'm still doing it. And yeah, and I also feel like I keep rubbing my makeup. So if it's smeared, just ignore it. Okay, just ignore it. And this makes me feel a little less alone. It makes you feel less alone. I love doing this. So let's just jump straight into this. All right, first question or story or answer or whatever. Okay, I don't know if this is a BPD thing or something else, but for some reason, I kind of just feel like in between everything. I can't even describe it. I feel like something is split. I'm in between the split, if that makes sense. I wonder if anyone else feels this way or if I'm just crazy. Girl, you are not the only one. I promise you, I get this all the time. What this is emotional detachment from self. Most likely, you've been carrying emotions for so long that were so heavy and you felt misunderstood and unheard and you didn't know how to get your point across that eventually you just shut off. And I get that. I remember when I taught myself how to shut off. So I so get this feeling. I was literally in high school when I was taught how to shut my feelings off. So I very much get this. After a long time of having emotional intensity, it's not that you just don't care. It's that you are just very tired. You just disconnect from your emotions itself because you don't even know what to do about it anymore. You start to dissociate. You just feel so disconnected from self because at one time you were in touch with yourself, but everyone told you were wrong for how you were feeling and how you were expressing and how you were doing things. So now you just detached altogether. Just because somebody told you that for a long time does not mean that that is necessarily true and that you should do that. There are people that are willing to listen and to hold all of these feelings with you. It's just depending on the rooms that you're in and the people that you're talking to. But you really aren't alone and there's nothing wrong with you. And honestly, it's very normal for you to shut off because, again, if you're around someone that keeps telling you shouldn't feel that way, you look crazy, you're doing this, you're doing that, yeah, you're eventually going to shut off because no one is listening to the pain that you are carrying. That is literally your brain protecting itself. Because it knows that it can no longer hold that emotion because it's too much. The things that I do when I start to feel this way is I try to reconnect with the world around me. I'm not saying like, go do this and go do that. What I'm saying is if you're going on a walk outside, look at the grass. What color is it today? And be like, okay, the grass is green and that flower over there is yellow. And the sky looks like a yellow, orange, just pinkish today. Like try to name the senses around you. I know this sounds dumb, but it really is helpful because a lot of time when I'm dealing with a lot of emotional intensity or dissociation, I'm not aware of what's around me. I could care less. I could trip over a school bus that's literally right in front of me because I'm just so in my head. I can't see, I can't hear, I don't care. So my biggest advice is to just reconnect. Start pointing out things around you, what things smell like, what they feel like, what they sound like, what colors they are, what you enjoy about them, what you don't like about them. Just start pointing out everything around you. And don't fight any of the emotions that come up. Don't tell yourself not to feel it. Don't tell yourself to push it away. Don't tell yourself you don't want to feel that right now. Because the longer you push it away, the longer it gets stuck and it gets pushed down inside of you and it gets stuck in there. Feel it, express it. I'm not saying express it in any way. Like if you have anger, I'm not saying to go punch walls and punch people and things like that. Be angry. Maybe go in your room and scream into your pillow really quick. That's not going to hurt anybody. Just get it out of your body. Display it. Express it. Emotions are normal. They're human. And I hate when people are like, oh, like you should learn how to just push it away and control your emotions and all that. No, I genuinely believe that humans, when they feel emotion, should allow it to come out. Because everyone that says, oh, emotions are weak, no, you're weak because you can't even feel your emotions. You push them all away and then you freak out on people randomly. I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking about the people that say, oh, you shouldn't feel emotions. Emotions are stupid. Yeah, no, you can't even feel an emotion. And then when you get emotional, you're crazier than me. And I have a personality disorder. I genuinely believe that you should feel your emotions. So if you want to scream, scream. I'm not saying to scream at people, but scream, get it out. If you want to cry, cry, get it out. Put a time limit on it. Express it. The emotion will end. I promise you it'll end. You remember that emotion that was really bad a few years ago that you thought would never end, but you're here today and it ended? It ends. Even that emotion you felt earlier last week, it ended. You might even forgot already. Lord knows I forgot what I was feeling this morning. So just express those emotions. Get them out. Feel them. Don't resist them. All right. And next question. This is literally all it says. I feel like my pain is too horrible to share with anyone else. That's it. That's all they said. And I get that. I've been there. And it's crazy now that I have hundreds of thousands of followers that I share my story with, share my pain with, share my journeys, whatever. It's crazy to me because I really thought I would never get here. I don't want to assume where this fear comes from, but where this fear came from for me was I was scared to be unheard. I was scared to be misunderstood. I was scared to be invalidated. And the thing is, what you don't realize, what you're doing by not sharing your story is making yourself unheard. You're making yourself misunderstood. You're making yourself detached from other people around you and your connections around you. And you're most likely invalidating yourself. Not even most likely, I know you are. You're telling yourself you're not valid enough to share your story because it's too painful. I could tell a million stories that I've heard that have been so dark, so deep, so scary, but it isn't too much around the correct person. The longer you carry this story with you that you're not willing to share, the heavier it gets. The more thoughts that you have about it that has no other input but your own opinion but your own. And I get it. That's technically all that matters to you. But you're making this feeling worse. When you have someone hold it with you, it gets lighter. You get different perspective. Sometimes when you say stuff out loud, you'll be like, oh, I'm just being a little crazy about that. It was that bad. Or sometimes you realize it was that bad and you're very valid for how you feel and it makes you feel better. Sometimes sharing this gives you new tools, new resources, but the more you sit with it by yourself, the more alone you are going to feel, the more disconnected you are going to be from the people around you, actually the world around you. The more you're going to feed the thoughts that you're already having and fuel them with worse thoughts. And the reason that I know this is because I've been there. I've lived that life for years and years and years. And matter of fact, there are some stories that I haven't shared and that I sit with alone. And every time that I think about it, fuel gets added to the fire and I feel so disconnected that nobody will get it because I'm not allowing somebody to get it. If you're not telling somebody something, of course they're not going to get it. Of course they're not going to hear you. And of course you're going to be misunderstood. You're not allowing them to. There is a big thing with being understood is that you have to allow someone to understand you. Because think about it this way. If I came on here every single week and said, I feel like this with BPD, nobody gets it, and I didn't allow you guys to get it, I wouldn't feel understood because I sat there and I resisted you. I told you that you don't get it, and I will allow you to feel the pain that I'm feeling. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I understand that some people may not understand where you're coming from 100% or exactly what you're going through. But somebody actually does understand, whether you feel it or you don't feel it, whether they dealt with it a different way than you did. There is someone out there that gets it, that hears you, that will understand you, that will validate you, that will hear it. But you have to be willing to be heard. And honestly, once I stepped into that power and started being willing to be heard, I now never shut up. There is so much power in your voice. Like once I started speaking, I couldn't shut up because I realized this. I misunderstood because I allowed myself to be misunderstood. I misheard because I was putting myself in rooms where people weren't hearing me or willing to listen. Sometimes you got to do a little more work and put yourself in different rooms and try different things in order for people to get it. But if you're not actively doing it, nobody's going to understand. And I want you to know that I understand you by that alone. And it sucks and it's heavy. And I don't want you to get heavier emotional weight on you. And I just want you to reach out. And it doesn't have to be on a podcast. It could be a person that you'll never see again. Just connect with them for like 45 minutes. Go talk to them. Be like, oh, sit down at a bar. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to go to a bar, but like if you're sitting at a bar and that's some random person, if they're like, they say hi to you, start the conversation. Just trauma dump on them. You'll never see them again. Get it out. Maybe they'll relate. Maybe if not. And the thing is, a lot of the time, once you start to be more open to this, these things start attracting to you. The people that get it, just all of a sudden you'll be like, come up to you and they'll attach and be like, they'll say one thing and you'll be like, wait a goddamn minute. Why are we connected? And then you just start going in and you start talking and then you might not ever see him again, which is easier because you never see him again. You don't have to deal with the guilt and the shame. Or you can just talk to a friend, an acquaintance, a teacher, somebody. Honestly, I also encourage you to maybe go to therapy. I mean, that's what you're paying them for. You're paying them to fix that part of your brain. And I know that some girl talking to you on a podcast isn't going to fix that or make you feel the way that I feel 100% because you don't have the proof of it yet. But therapy was extremely helpful into proving this into myself. So maybe therapy. But again, I'm not going to just answer these questions by, okay, go to therapy and take medication. I'm never going to answer these questions like that. I'm going to give you the answers of what I think. And I truly think you need to allow someone to hear you. And it can be literally anybody in this whole world. Because the weight gets easier. You start to get different understandings. When you say it out loud, it sounds different. And yeah, so just know that you are not alone. And I get it. I know that wasn't your story. And I know that I can't get what you're going through because you didn't tell me what you're going through. But I do get that part. And I'm rooting for you, and I hope whatever you're going through does get easier for you, because no one in the world deserves to go through anything alone. All right, next question. This one's a little long, so I'm going to skim. I'm going to give you the whole spiel as much as I can, but it's like a scrolling long, so thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this podcast. If you know anything about borderline personality disorder, you know that our emotions can change in a matter of minutes. During these times, it's important to remind myself that people need people, and that's why I'm sponsored by BetterHelp to give you the help that I know that I also need. I have personally tried and support BetterHelp because of how fast you can get paired with a certified therapist and schedule an appointment. And to be transparent, my first therapist was not an ideal match, but it was easier to switch than I expected. And now I'm matched with a DBT certified therapist who can actually meet my needs. And I made the switch within 48 hours. I've been reading my comments about whether BetterHelp is helpful for serious disorders like BPD, and I want to be honest about my experience. For me, BetterHelp was not meant to replace therapy or medication. It's a tool I use alongside of my treatment like DBT or outpatient programs. And used this way, it's actually really supportive. I also learned that BetterHelp provides DBT therapy, which is extremely helpful for someone who thinks like myself. BetterHelp has made a lot of positive changes. Their matching process, their therapist options, and even how to handle disorders like BPD. So it might not be a right fit for everyone, but I do think it's way more reliable than it was years ago. So if you've been thinking about trying therapy and you don't know where to start, BetterHelp is a great first step. You can do sessions over video, phone calls, or even chats, whatever is most comfortable for you. Use my code betterhelp.com/TierraLorraine for 10% off your first month. Again, that's betterhelp.com/TierraLorraine for 10% off your first month. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. And now, back to the episode. Hi, Tierra. I just started listening to your podcast, and it feels good to know that someone finally understands what's going on in our minds. Thank you. I'm a little crazy. I really want to hear your thoughts. Recently, I saw this guy wearing an Eminem hoodie. So I was like, bro, I love Eminem and I love rap. So I wanted to get to know him because I like when people have the same interests as me. So I found him on the yearbook and I got his name and managed to find him on multiple social media apps. I found out he's a rapper and makes beats. Like I said, I wanted to get to know him. So I made him a drawing of Eminem with a note that basically saying, I was wondering if we could be friends. By the way, I love your rap music, all the work you're doing. Keep it up. And I managed to get to talk to him until he asked, how did you even find out about me? And I was just going to tell him the story. And then I realized it sounded so creepy and weird. I was like, I'm actually so crazy, bro. Girl, I get this. Every time he's talking about himself, my mind is like, I knew that. I already know that. Oh, I saw him repost that. You are so real. So the real question is it common for someone with BPD to be like crazy obsessive with someone they love? Like I truly do love someone, but I'm like so obsessed. And this happens all the time, and it makes me question if it's really love or an unhealthy obsession thing. Obviously, it's not entire obsession. I genuinely really like them, and I love everything about them. I just tend to be crazy about it. Again, sorry if this is a lot. I genuinely would love to have your help on this. I still don't know if this is a part of BPD or if I'm just weirdly obsessed. Thank you, Tierra, and have a good day. Okay, I ended up reading the whole thing because it actually had so much tea in it, and it was so relatable and so real. So with BPD, I will say that obsession is very, very common and very, very real because we deal with the fear of abandonment. A lot of people don't realize obsession is not what it sounds like. It's not love. Obsession is not love. What it is it's from fear. Obsession roots from fear. You're fearing that they'll leave. You're fearing that if you don't do this and that they won't reciprocate. You're just obsessed with everything. Like you're making sure that you can do everything for this person. Like you're obsessive because you're fearful. So it's very, very common. We are fearful of being abandoned. So therefore we obsess and hyperfixate on the people that we love in order to get them not to abandon us. And like our brain's like, oh my God, I'm in love. I don't want them to leave me. So I need to do this, this, and this, and this, and that. It's not a manipulative standpoint. Okay, I want to make that clear. But obsession is very common in BPD because we are fearful of those negative feelings and abandonment. When you said that you saw his Eminem hoodie and that you wrote him a note and said you wanted to get to know him, I honestly don't really think that you really crossed the line there. You saw someone that you were interested in and you went after it. Now, if you stalked him at his house and never left him alone and he gave you a hint to leave him alone and you kept going anyway, now we're crossing a little line. Like it's giving stalker. It's giving stalker. I don't think you crossed the line because honestly, if someone saw the shirt that I was wearing and was like, oh, I like that shirt, and just did a little investigation, be like, oh, who is she? I wouldn't think they were crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But I wouldn't think they were crazy. Like you saw someone that you liked and you went after it. Unless you're leaving stuff out. But I don't think that was obsessive. Okay. Maybe you were a little bit obsessed. But hey, it worked out in the end, didn't it? So I really don't think like this came from like a negative standpoint whatsoever. I genuinely think that you just went after something that you liked. But my best advice to you, because you are aware that like you are a little like, what is it called? I don't want to use like a negative term for this. You're just You're really into it. That's what we'll say. We can tell that you're really, really into this and you're really into him. Just try your best not to pedestalize this person, because a lot of the time when I'm in a relationship with BPD, or I have a favorite person or someone that I may be obsessed with, I start to pedestalize them and think that they can never do no wrong. So then when they do wrong, I'm then an asshole and I become crazy. And if you have BPD, I'm sure you deal with relatively the same things. I'm not saying you deal with the exact same thing, but I would say try not to put your eggs all into this one basket. Have friends still, do other hobbies, do other tasks without this person. Again, they're your person, so like include them every now and then, but try not to put all your eggs into that one basket, because a lot of time when we have a favorite person, they become our emotional anchor. And they regulate whether we are worthy or not. Like if they're treating us good, then we're worthy. If they're treating us bad, now we're unworthy and we're not worth anything. And I just don't want you to get stuck in that cycle. But from what you said, I generally don't see a problem with it. Like you saw what you wanted and you went and got it. And I'm kind of proud of you. And I love that for you. Honestly, I don't think that story would turn him away. I think that story's kind of cute, honestly. But again, what does the crazy girl know? I don't know. All right, next question. Hey, so I recently found out I have BPD and I've had the same partner since before I found out. And actually, they're really great, but there are times where I split or I catastrophize things, and they've been looking for even more ways to support me. I word it that way because they're already so supportive. It's crazy. Oh, that's so cute. I love that for you. But what's your best advice for what your hypothetical partner could do with splits and spirals? From what I got from that, your partner sounds lovely. They sound amazing, and I love that for you. So the first thing is have a supportive partner. Someone that can understand that a split is not logical, and there is nothing you can do to fix or stop it. All you can do is be there for them. And if you have someone in your ear while you're splitting telling you, stop that, don't do that, it makes it worse. So I am very glad you have a very supportive partner. And anyone that does not and they struggle with BPD, maybe rethink that. Not telling you to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, but I don't see you getting any better if they're not supportive, like this person here. I love that person right now. I love your partner. Keep them forever. I feel like most people don't realize splitting is not just a heightened emotion. It's uncontrollable and it's absolute. So what splitting is when you think in all good or all bad, and there's no logical thinking to it. When we are splitting, we cannot access the logical parts in our brain. So your partner's job is not to fix this, it's to support this. So say like you're splitting and you think your partner is going to leave or to abandon you, and you're looking at them saying, oh my God, you're leaving me, oh my God, no. And they're just sitting there like, no, I'm not. And they're starting to argue with you. What they should do is be like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I want you to know that I am here. I'm not leaving. And just ask them what's going on. Let them spit fire all the feelings out. None of it's going to sound logical. Some of it might sound like an attack. Some of it might sound absolutely out of pocket. But the thing about splitting is it's not logical. It's fight or flight in the borderline's brain. Our emotions are too much that now we're fighting or flighting. So things are going to come out that are not meant to come out. Am I giving you excuse to do so? No, I'm not telling you to be mean to people for no reason. But when you have a partner and they're trying to support you, they shouldn't fight against you. They should validate what's going on in your head and just remind you that they are here. So if I look at my partner and if I'm going like, nothing is going right, I would hope that my partner would be like, I get your frustration. You're right. That one thing didn't go right, but I'm here for you. And that's it. I'm not looking for an answer. I'm not looking for a resolution when I'm splitting. I want my split to stop. I want it to stop. So don't give me an answer to it. Just be there. Just listen, please. Because it ends so much quicker if it does. But if you start to attack or start to fix it or tell me how to get over it, my brain starts attacking itself again. Like, oh my God, you're terrible. You can't even figure it out. So now we have to deal with this. And then in my brain, just whatever I'm splitting about just makes it so much worse because now I feel bad that I can't regulate. So don't try to regulate a borderline when they're splitting. Just listen to them, be there for them, validate them. Of course, like, don't tell them, like, if they're like, oh, I'm worthless, I'm terrible, and they're splitting on themselves, don't be like, yeah, you're worthless. Like, don't do that. Just remind them why they're worthy. And if your partner's splitting on you, honestly, I know this really sucks to hear as the partner, but do not defend yourself during those times. I know it sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. Like, obviously, everyone has the right to defend themselves. But wait until the split is over. Then defend yourself. Because if you defend yourself while this person's in a split, we're going to have bigger fish to fry. I promise you. Like, it just makes it so much worse. And I wish I could explain that. And I wish it wasn't like that. But it is. After the split ends, reconnect after. Then we can look at what we can do better next time. Then we can look at what went wrong. But if I'm actively in a split, there is nothing logical going on up here. Everything is illogical, and all my thoughts are just coming out by the fly of my, just coming out of my mouth. They're just coming out of my mouth, however, whenever. And I can't think about it because I'm splitting and I'm thinking in an absolute. If I'm thinking about absolutely one thing, why in the world do you think I can think another thing? It's not happening. Reconnect after. As a borderline, I'm going to tell you what helped, what didn't help. And also, as the partner, you have a right to stand up for yourself as well. What did they find helpful? What did they find that wasn't helpful? You both need to reconnect because both your feelings do matter in this situation. As a borderline that has split on people, I understand how bad that can hurt someone, and it sucks. And I can tell this girl is feeling probably some guilt and some shame for her splits, but I wouldn't hyperfixate on that emotion too much because it sounds like you have a supportive partner that will be there for you and is trying to be there for you. But I do know that a lot of this comes with guilt and shame, but it also is a part of us. So we have to find supportive partners that understand what a split is and what it looks like and what to do. Because if you are splitting and you have someone fighting against you, we now got bigger fish to fry. So I don't know. I hope you find that helpful a bit, because splitting is very, very hard to navigate, especially if you're actively in a split. Because people always ask me if they only ask when I'm actively in a split, like, how can I help you right now? I don't know. But basically, you don't really want to tell a borderline how to feel. You want to guide them to that direction. Even if you think you have all the answers, and even if the borderline knows the right answer, you still might have to guide them because a split is a split and splitting can be scary. But yeah, I hope you found that helpful because that's something that helps me a lot. I get how tricky this can be as being the partner and being the person that has BPD. I've said things I have regretted before, and I've hurt some people during my splits before, and I'm sure you want to avoid that. So I don't know. It's important to have a supportive partner and someone who actually understands what splitting is and how to deal with it, as it's very, very, very hard, and nothing about it is logical. All right, this one's kind of tea, and they name dropped. It's a basic name, we'll be okay. My BPD presents itself in hyper-attachment kind of way. Due to past actions that have left a huge amount of guilt in me, it fundamentally changed my attachment style from inconsistent to always consistent, but it's been damaging me lately. I took control and ditched a friend, my best friend Zoe of 6 years. She began to refuse to talk to me, basically no matter how many times I asked gently and even cried about it. She never made an effort to speak to me. It makes me feel unheard. She made me feel so unheard that if I don't text her, I would go 2 months without talking to her. I know this is because she's bipolar. That's why I stopped talking to her, because she has bipolar, and claims it's because of it. I feel like a dick for breaking my oath and never leaving someone rather than trying to make it work. There was some grammatical errors. It took me a while to read that one. I understand that you don't want to break the promise on leaving, but she broke the promise of being a good friend. I get that you're hyperly attached right now, but I don't think like a good friend would just leave you in the dust. So for you to leave her isn't a bad thing. And she can excuse her behavior with bipolar, borderline, whatever mental health mumbo jumbo you want to do. And I understand with personality disorders, it does make it a little harder and to knowing what's real and what's fake and caring or whatever. But like, she didn't seem like a very good friend. And her leaving probably did hurt. But honestly, ask yourself, would she put up with that? Ask yourself if you would want somebody to be hurting because of your mental health disorder. Maybe she's isolating right now and she can't be a good friend. That doesn't mean that either of you are bad or wrong or anything like that. It doesn't mean any of that. And I understand that this hurts. I was your friend for a long time. I've lost friends from my childhood. Even recently, it hurts. But I don't want you to be like, well, this person hurt me and I feel bad that I have to leave. No, they hurt you. That just is what it is. Wouldn't you rather be in rooms where people actually understand you and hear you? Now, the hyper attachment part, though, you can't be putting your eggs all in one basket or you'll end up here again. And honestly, this is your lesson learned. If you didn't go through this, you wouldn't know, you know? And I know that probably doesn't make it easier, but now you know for next time. Maybe instead of only hanging out with that one friend, maybe have a few friends. Because I've done that. I would always jump from one friend and then one friend and then one friend. And it would break me every single time that we were no longer friends anymore. But when I realized I was putting all my eggs in one basket, if a person were to leave, I'm not shattered to my core. Because a lot of the times when we have someone that we are hyperly attached to like that, we're actually trying to get our validation through them. It's not about control. It's the desperate need for connection and safety. And by putting all your eggs in that one basket, you're furthering that belief. And every time someone leaves, it shatters you. Hyper attachment is really, really hard to deal with. And it genuinely, it makes your sense of self even worse. Like, I so get this, girl. I've so been there before. And I just want you to know that you are not wrong for leaving somebody who is hurting you. Would you tell your friends to stay in a situation where they were being treated like crap? Probably not. So don't tell yourself those things either. Some of these are so cute. Like, I'm about to do my tears. I'm tearing up. Oh my God, I look greasy. She's smearing. I'm tearing up right now. You guys are so sweet and kind. I'm just going through these. I love you guys. Please leave more. I love you guys. All right. I think this is going to be my last one because this is getting a little long. I was wondering what the process is for you when getting a favorite person. For me, there's no process. I will meet someone and just like that, they are my favorite person or not, I really don't have a choice. You're reading me like a book, huh? That bond can last for years. I don't collect favorite people. I can only seem to have one at a time. And it wrecks me each time the bond breaks. A lot of these questions had to do with favorite person. My process for getting favorite person is also just meeting them. And I'm like, oh my God, I think they're my best friend. How did I not know them before? That's literally how I am. I don't know. I don't understand the process either. My brain's just like, yes. Like, I couldn't tell you. I just see them and I'm like, yep, you said one word and I like what you had to say. And I also go through mine one at a time. Like, I'll hang out with that person every day. I'll see what their plans are every day. I'll check their social media every day. It just is that one person. But again, like I said earlier in the video, it is extremely important, even though you're aware of this, even if you have that one person that you do favor, try to make sure that you have other friends and do other things with other people. I mean, of course, if that person leaves, it's still going to hurt and it's going to be heavy, but it won't be as heavy because you still have a support system and other people around you. They might not be your favorite people, but they are people and you're connected to them. And yeah, it might not feel as deep as that connection as that one favorite person, but it still is making sure your eggs are not into that one basket. So hopefully you found that helpful. But yeah, friends, that's all the questions I got for you today. Thank you guys for always sending me in those questions and leaving me such sweet little notes and comments. They mean the whole world to me. And if you want to leave one and you haven't yet, or you already have, make sure you check out that link in the bio down below. Again, thank you to anybody that did send in questions. They mean the whole freaking world to me. I love this community so freaking much. But yeah, friends, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Again, happy Halloween. And if you are celebrating tonight or this weekend, make sure if you're doing party stuff to get an Uber. If you don't think that your life matters, the people on the road do, okay? So get an Uber. Your life still matters too, but if you're like, I don't care about my life, I'm gonna drive the car drunk. Don't do that, dude. There's other people in this world. Be safe this weekend. Have fun. Dress up. Get cute. Take lots of pictures. Do your thing. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions and your stories. I appreciate you guys so freaking much. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to give this podcast a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're not missing a video every single Friday. And if you're listening on podcast, make sure that you follow this podcast and leave me a 5-star review along with a little comment so it helps me build this community and we can get bigger and have more friends. We love that. Happy Halloween, everyone. Be safe this weekend. And I love you guys more than anything in the world. Love you guys.